From the NewsChannel 5 network, this is Pharmacist on Call.
Good evening, Nashville, Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, those of you as far west as Jackson, those of you as far east as McMinnville. Welcome to Pharmacist on Call with your host, Dr. Sean Pruitt, and if you're watching this show, I am your community pharmacist. Everyone, welcome to the May edition of Pharmacist on Call. This is your 1-hour forum where you get to call in with any kind of healthcare question that you have. Rule number one, there are no silly questions, so call in. Chances are it's always bared out that the question that you think is silly and mundane, somebody else is thinking the same thing, and chances are it's going to bless them as well. So call in. The producer's going to flash the information up there. This is your 1-hour forum. We're going to do some shout outs like we typically do, and probably a couple of announcements as well. Let's see, birthdays. My big sister Kimberly Thomas will be, actually her birthday will be in about a couple of weeks. I want to say happy birthday to her. The rest of the May birthdays escape me at this point. Looks like we have a couple of announcements. Oh, actually, before I get to that, I want to do some condolences. I want to do condolences for the Churchwell family on the passing of their mother, Mary Churchwell, back in February. And this lady is very special to me. She was my second grade teacher at Tom Joy, for those of you who are around the old East Nashville back then, and probably a legendary teacher in Nashville. But she was the first person to tell me that I was gifted but a little bit lazy and I needed to apply myself. And so she used to stay on me because when you're gifted, you can kind of be a little lazy and not try as hard as you need to. But she stayed on me, and I felt really blessed to see her before her passing. So Mrs. Churchwell, see the fruit of your labor there. But yeah, she was the first person to stay on me, recognized that there was a gift there, and sorry to see her go. Wanted to let you know that we've got a couple of things going on at the pharmacy tomorrow. The first is we do weekly raffles now. We do drawings for different products. So last Friday, it was a 5-gallon container filled with alkaline water. We would provide the container and the water. This week, it's going to be a big bottle of hemp oil. It'll be like this, with or without THC. We're going to do the drawing around 2 p.m. tomorrow. So if you want to get in the drawing, I think it's a minimum of $10 or $20 to get your name on a ticket, and then we'll call you to let you know that you won. The second thing is for the first 30 people who come to the pharmacy tomorrow morning, excuse me, we are going to be giving away masks, surgical masks. These are orange canvas masks, and they were made by students at the University of Tennessee College of Pharmacy, my alma mater. The organization is called Student National Pharmaceutical Association, or SNAPA. So these are students, pharmacy students whose focus is helping the underserved communities. And so we partnered together on a number of different events. So they decided to donate the masks that they had made to the pharmacy to hand out to the community. So we've only got a few, I'm probably like 30 or so. So guys, make sure you're there. The line's going to be there early. So these are washable and reusable. They're made of pretty durable canvas. They're orange because we're UT. All right, so make sure you're there. We open at 9. We'll be there from 9 to 6. I expect these to probably gone by noon, but you can call and see if we still have any, and make your way on down there. Okay, all right, and that looks like that's it on our announcements and birthdays and shout outs and what have you. So the big topic of the day certainly is COVID-19, and I'm sure we'll have a few questions about it. So at this point, it looks like in terms of numbers, the world has cracked 1 million cases, and we're probably looking at over 70,000 deaths, I believe, at this point. So this thing is it's pretty serious. I would encourage you to, exercise social distancing, even though we have the order that will be lifted at, I believe, on the 11th. Still practice social distancing, because that doesn't change the fact that the virus is still out there and is still contagious or deadly. Continue to wear your masks. So to cover your face, and it's to protect, in case you're asymptomatic, it is to protect others from you or you from others. So make sure you're using your mask, your PPE as it were. Again, if you know someone who needs a mask, send them to the pharmacy so that they can get one of the donated canvas ones. And I believe the city said that they were out of theirs at this point, so they had, gosh, a large number, and they've gone out so far. All right, so the disease itself, for those of you, who are kind of hearing some of everything and don't really have any clarity on it, this is a SARS-type virus. It's sudden acute respiratory syndrome virus. And so initially, the way it attacked people in Wuhan was it attacked the lungs, the respiratory system. So if you all remember SARS about 10, 15 years ago, and MERS right after that around 2005 or so. So these are all respiratory viruses that get into the cells, and then they create copies of themselves and, man, just do all kind of damage. So this thing appears to have mutated a number of times, and with that mutation changes the way that it may affect a person. So in Wuhan, we had respiratory issues, and I'll just say that this virus appears to attack you where you are weak. So in Asia, where you have a pretty smoggy, unclean environment and probably a lot of cigarette smoking, the lungs are going to be compromised. And so the virus attacked those people there. You send that over to Italy, and kind of the same thing, a lot of pneumonia and respiratory issues. You get over here to North America, particularly in the South, and particularly in the African American community, where we have issues is going to be with diabetes, hypertension, and so this virus attacks your organ system. It is not a respiratory virus only. So for those of you who are diabetic, this thing attacks your pancreas. And how does it do that, Dr. Pruitt? There are receptors on your organs called ACE2, ACE2 receptors. And these are the pathway by which the virus gets into your bloodstream. So for those people who were in China, because they were sick, they had a large number of ACE2 receptors presenting in their lungs. And the virus is able to come to the lungs, bond with that ACE2 receptor, and sneak into the cell and replicate itself. Likewise, here, it finds the ACE2 expression of the pancreas, and the pancreas has even more ACE2 receptors than the lungs do, which is why you see it affect the southern community the way it has. States like Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi, places with high comorbidities, places with a lot of hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease. This virus is smart enough, and it can find, if you got kidney disease, it's going to go through the ACE2 receptors in the kidneys and cause damage. If you have heart problems or heart disease, it's going to look for the ACE2 receptors in your heart, and then it's going to, it's going to sneak in. And I believe that there were there's research to suggest that it also affects the sex organs, the testicles. So there is reason to believe that in addition to all of the other problems, that this virus may also cause sterility down the road. Yeah, it may cause you to be sterile. What effect it would have in women, I'm not sure, in terms of the ovaries or what have you. So this thing, and the research is changing daily. It's mutating, and the way it kills is changing. You're even seeing now reports of the way that it is presenting in children and causing these stomach problems, and then heart issues. Which you remember, the first strain didn't even affect children. It appeared to affect seniors and older people and sick people only. This virus does not discriminate. It is after some of everyone. So what can we do about it? Well, since we know that this virus wants to attack us where we are weak, then what we need to do is change the situation. We need to improve our health by improving our diet, by supplementing with the right things to make sure that we're protected on the front end, and then supplementing with things, should we even come in contact with it, so that our body is not a good environment for the virus to flourish. So what kind of things should we be doing? In fact, we'll talk about risk factors first. So based on the research that I had done, I saw a number of risk factors. The first one was your ethnicity. And so Wuhan, they did a series of research, research projects where they looked at Asians, they looked at Europeans, and some of the Africans there who had contracted the virus. And what they found was that by and large, Asian males appeared to be the most susceptible to that strain of COVID-19. And that's why it presented the way it did in mostly Asians with the respiratory issues. And I think after that, then maybe white males became more susceptible, and then the African population became more susceptible after that. So ethnicity was just one factor in determining how well you did with this first strain. In terms of the second strain, you know what, it looks like we're up on a break. We're going to take our first break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get into risk factors, and then we're going to talk about what we can do. You all stay right there. Call in with any questions that you may have.